Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatharine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay.
Hare Krishna, requesting all devotees to please mute your mobile phones or put it on flight mode.
Once you have a big basket, you can collect all the phones. Give them back at the end. So I want to begin by speaking about the meaning of the Mahamantra, Mahamantra, the meaning that Prabhupada gave, the main meaning. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. That was the main, the meaning that Prabhupada gave about 99% of the time. But there was a lecture I heard in which Prabhupada explained further what that meant, or what it means. It's quite interesting. And it's something we can all relate to, this meaning, and I will explain what Prabhupada said, and you'll see how relatable it is. And it makes it easy to enter into the mood of this meaning because it's something we can relate to. So, sometimes a devotee thinks, I have too much service. You ever feel that way? Especially if you live in a temple, or you're doing pujari work, and not a lot of pujaris, or you're doing management. Because you could be, if you had 48 hours, it still wouldn't be enough. Right? And although this sounds funny, but sometimes the devotee thinks, why would I be praying for service when I can't even do the service I have? So if you want to be funny, you could say, this week I'm not chanting Japa because I have too much service. So if I don't chant for a week, maybe the service will go down. So it's not exactly what it means, like give me more service. It means more give me the mentality of service. So then Prabhupada went on to explain, we do have a mentality of service, which is to serve Maya. Right? When the mind says, go here, we go. The mind says, you want this, we go for it. Right? So, when a devotee is praying, Krishna, please engage me in your service, Prabhupada said it also means he's praying not to be engaged in Maya service. In other words, whenever you pray for something, you're praying either for something, you generally pray for something you can't achieve on your own. Otherwise, why would you pray for it? Right? Like, have you ever prayed, Krishna, please help me drink this water? Never, right? Unless you have some disease. Right? Krishna, please help me scratch my face. Never. Why would you pray for that? You never pray for something that you do easily. You pray for things that are difficult, right? And so, one of the difficult things that devotees pray for is to not give in to their conditioning, to their habits, to their samskars. I am attracted to doing something I shouldn't do. So I pray, Krishna, please give me the strength to resist. Right? So Prabhupada said that's the other side of Krishna, please engage me in your service, is Krishna, please protect me or inspire me in a way that I won't give in to Maya's service. So it also means that. So we all have experience of doing something we either regret having done or we knew we were going to regret it before we did it and we did it anyway. Sometimes you don't know until you do it. But then once you do it, and you realize, oh, I shouldn't do this, but then you do it again. And you say, well, I couldn't really control myself. So we all have things, we all have weaknesses, and things which allure us, which are unhealthy, either physically or spiritually, or it could be emotionally, or other ways. Like some of you say, I can't go near a bakery because I'll go in and buy everything. Or don't put me in a shopping mall, I'll go in debt on my credit cards. You know, it's a weakness. You know, I can't go to this party. We're talking general. Because if I do, then I'll do this or that. You know your weakness. These are the things that take us away from Krishna consciousness. So we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So simultaneously, you could say simultaneously, the prayer, Krishna engage me in your service, also means the opposite. Protect me from giving in to my weaknesses. In other words, protect me from being engaged in the service of Maya. Isn't that interesting? So, now we go back to just listen. That just listen doesn't make any sense with what I just said. I think maybe I have to turn it away from me that way. Yeah. And can you put the bass and treble back to where it used to be? I think that's the problem. Krishna Chaitanya, better, right? Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura. Yeah, the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. So, in this lecture, Prabhupada is explaining this is what the Mahamantra means. But he's explaining what it means in the form of a prayer. This is what the Mahamantra means. Krishna, please. It's a prayer. Right? So that means that prayer is what is empowering the devotee when they chant. Right? This is what's supposed to be going on in our heart, in our consciousness, when we're chanting. It's not supposed to be, Krishna, help me get my rounds done. Or, what we said this morning, upma or whatever. It's not supposed to be like that. So whenever we say what the Mahamantra means, contained in the meaning, there's a prayer. Right? So would you like to chant now? Taking in everything we've discussed so far. Well, let you ask some questions. Then the questions should be relevant to how we can apply everything we've learned to chanting, and then we'll chant a little bit. I purposely didn't finish all my rounds this morning. Well, I had a meeting at 7, so I couldn't. But I wanted to chant more here. So if I didn't leave some rounds, I maybe wouldn't chant. So I've got vested interest in us chanting together. But we should chant together. So before we do it, any questions? 6 hours of questions. We won't be able to chant tonight. Yeah, okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, there is an understanding that usually if I put my hand in the bead bag, my rounds are going to be bad. I'm going to sleep off.
Yeah.
So how to get out of the psychological...
Well, it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. I have a story for you. When I was a brahmachari, we would do Sankirtan every day. But then it got to the point where we weren't doing so much book distribution, we were doing more collecting. Not really preaching, but collecting money. And I was not inspired to collect money. This is a true story. 100% true. When they would say, it's time to go out, be like after breakfast, it's time to go out, this is serious, I would start yawning. Any of you have that experience? Like, 9 o'clock, I have to go to work. They're like, the boss calls up and says, there's a problem in the office, you don't have to come to work. Your friend calls you up 10 minutes later. You want to do this, your favorite activity. You're like out the door, full of energy. Right? You ever have that experience? So what he's saying is that sometimes happens when we chant Japa. As soon as we're like, Japa, like the whole energy level goes down. And he's asking why. The reason is, and it's quite simple, that your experience with something, day in and day out, creates kind of an anchor, what they would call an anchor. So that, I saw this with my daughter when she was practicing violin from the age of 5. And she didn't really she wanted to play violin, but she didn't want to practice. It's like the guy who wants to lose weight but doesn't want to go on a diet or go to the gym. So she didn't really want to do it, so every time my wife would say, it's time to practice the violin, you'd hear this, let's do it later. Like every time, 101% of the time. Nothing exciting, right? So if you're doing something over and over again, which is not exciting, and then when we mention that activity, you already feel what you felt the last time you did it. Whether it's exciting or not, you feel it. Now, just looking at that objectively, one would think that is really bad to have bad experiences with Japa, because it's going to color my whole relationship to the holy name, and it's going to handicap me right from the first beat. Because I once was having a really bad week with Japa. I don't know why, it was just a really, really bad week. And after about 5 bad days of Japa, I put my hand in my bead bag one morning to chant. And I heard a voice in my head that was probably there many, many times. I just didn't notice it. And the voice said, oh no, here we go again. It's like, this is going to be exactly as bad as it's been every day. And there is the reality of that you generally get what you expect to get. So if you're thinking, oh no, this is going to be bad, you are right. It's going to be bad, because that's what you're expecting. So number one, if you want to change that pattern, or 2 things you can do to change that pattern is, work on improving your japa, because then with the good experiences you'll be, yes, japa, nectar. The first beat is like nectar. I had such a nectar time yesterday, so it's nectar. And if you didn't have a nectar time, but at least you can think, let's create. Okay, here's the first beat. Let's do it this time. Today, let's create it. Rather than let the past control you. Oh no, here we go again. It's going to be the same. Now, having said this, you can be a little sensitive, and you'll start to notice that something goes on when you put your hand in your bead bag. Let's put our hand in our bead bag right now and just like feel what are you feeling? Of course, now you know what. Don't fake it. Just allow yourself to feel. Like, what are you feeling like? Do you ever feel like, oh, I have to control my mind for the next 2 hours? That's like total hell. You ever feel like that? This is going to be difficult. Yeah. You're supposed to feel like, oh, yeah, it's my favorite activity. But what I would offer you is it's harder to feel it now because you've already chanted. But every morning, when you put your hand in your bead bag, notice what you're feeling. And I think some of you will realize you're feeling your energy. And notice your energy level when in the morning, when you stick your hand in your bead bag. Your body and mind have an energy level. Right? There's a funny, I don't know where to find it on the internet, but I think it's called The Adventures of Bhakta Burfi. And it's a skit, it's a funny skit. So the sannyasi's giving class, and all the brahmacharis and eventually they're flat on the ground, sleeping and snoring. And he doesn't know how to wake them up. He's like, get up, and he goes, I know what to do. Prasadam, and they jump up. And they run, right? So, when we say japa, where does your energy go? Does it go down? Can you feel that? When you put your hand in your bead bag, just notice, does it go up or down? Like, what does it do? Probably there is an energy shift. You just don't notice it, but maybe now you can notice it. But you definitely notice the energy shift when you hear the word prasadam. Definitely it goes up, right? So if you notice that when you put your hand in your beads, the energy is going down, then you know, problem. I have to change my relationship with japa. I have to work on it so that I feel like this is really something beautiful. This is the main way I connect with Krishna in Kali Yuga. You want to start creating these new samskars, because if your energy goes down, you have a lot of the wrong samskars relating to japa, which is based on your experience. And if your experience isn't good, naturally, when you put your hand in your bead bag, it's like, got to do this again. I wish. Why couldn't it be 4 rounds? Any of you ever think like that? Why does it have to be 16? 4 would be like, okay, I could, not bad. 4 I'd like. 16 is like. So you should notice these things. And hopefully, by hearing more about the holy name, your attitude towards the holy name will become more positive. So when you put your hand in your bead bag, you'll be like, yes, nectar. That's what will be going on. Yes, does that answer your question? Can we make that mic lower? What speaker is it coming out of? Does that speaker have a volume control, or is there a mixer? It's a bit too loud. Who's in charge for that speaker? Can you just see if there's a volume control?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, as you have mentioned that prayerful japa is the very nice way how we should chant, and not mechanically. So does the prayer, like suppose, Oh Mother Radharani or Lord Krishna, please engage me in your service, do we have to repeat that prayer while we are chanting in our head, or is it that that we have to have that attitude of prayer when we are chanting?
Yeah, yes. Very good question. When it goes to the level of prayer, it's no longer even thought in your head, it's only felt. And I think a good example of that is a child. When a child wants something, you know they're not thinking about it. They're just like head to toe. They want it, right? So Prabhupada said, like a child crying to its mother, that's how we should chant. It's totally not, it's not a thought, I should cry. It's not a thought, how do I cry? It's crying. And there's a difference between those three. It's crying. That's what we want to do. What did you do? Make it louder or just louder? Okay. So I can come. You make it louder and I go back. Is it loud? Too loud? It's okay. I don't know about fathers, but mothers, before their child can talk, when the child cries, they know that's the hungry cry, that's the I wet my pants cry, that's I want you to hold me cry. You know. Is that true, mothers? Any mothers? Yeah, you know. So it's like that. This is important. So it should go, let's say we're talking about a certain mood we want to create. Maybe we want to create the mood of remorse, repentance. Krishna, I turn my back on you. But what does it feel like? What are you feeling right now? You're feeling guilt, you're feeling shame, you're feeling remorse for having turned your back on Krishna. So now, when you chant, you're no longer thinking, I turn my back on Krishna. You're just feeling this remorse. You're feeling like there's this relationship. Krishna was always in the relationship, and I was never reciprocating with him. And I feel horrible. So I'm chanting, saying, oh, you know, the mood is, Krishna, forgive me. Or I feel so bad. So it's all about feeling. You know, so if you have a feeling, I could ask you, can you explain what you're feeling? Right? You put it into words, but the words are not the feeling. Right? Rub your hands. How does it feel? Rough, soft? That's not the feeling. Rub your hands without words. Just feel it without words. Don't try to describe it. That's the feeling. Right? There's no word. Smooth, any, hard, soft. It's just what it is. So that's the emotion. It's the feeling without the words. You know what it's like to feel guilty, right? Where are you feeling the guilt? In the heart, not in the head. Maybe it starts in the head, but then you will feel it as an emotion. So, when Prabhupada is telling us the Maha Mantra means, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service, there can be so many emotions around that. Like, I need your service. I'm feeling pain without your service. Your service is everything. I am your eternal servant. This is my constitutional position. Without your service, I am nothing. I don't want to serve anyone else. All these feelings. That's what it means. Otherwise, we intellectualize it. And so we're not really praying. We're just philosophizing. And I agree that sometimes it's difficult to get the philosophy into the heart because we have so much philosophy and we're encouraged to be philosophical. And if we're always philosophical, we may bypass, everything may just stay here and never get out of the head. That's the problem. And then you can chant in an analytical mind. Am I chanting properly? What does the Shastra say about chanting? What's that verse? What's that verse? What was that? Oh yeah, it's about if you're a dog eater and you chant the holy name and you've passed through all the Vedic, you surpassed all Vedic rituals, and you're going through your head chanting, and this, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service, doesn't exist at all. And then there's you're thinking about service. Good to think about service. Krishna, give me more service, I'll think about my service. 2 bananas, strawberries, yogurt. Yeah, we'll make that for the offering. Yeah. What happened to, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service? No, Prabhu, I'm thinking about my service. No, but that's not, the Maha Mantra, it was not intended for you to think about bananas and strawberries and dahi that you're going to offer to your deities. It's meant for you to connect with Krishna directly through prayer. Does that make sense? So you will experience yourself, what I'm saying, the more you go into that. And when you go out of it, you'll see, oh, that chanting was a lot different when I was into it than it was when I was out of it. And the more I'm out of it, the more it tends to be mechanical. Right? Have you ever noticed someone when they're chanting mechanically, what it looks like? It kind of looks like a robot. Should I demonstrate? Okay. You will have to guess when I'm chanting from the heart and when I'm chanting like a robot. And it's going to be really easy for you to guess. I'll make it really easy, okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, What am I feeling right now? Absolutely nothing. I'm in the total void right now. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Now here's the funny thing. Whenever we talk, it's not just what we say, but it's the emotion we put into the words. I love you. You are my friend. Do you want to come take prasadam with me? No way. Something's weird about you. You are weird, right? So we're going to do something funny, and I think this will make an impression upon you. The way I was just chanting like the robot, I'm not going to chant. I'm going to say what the Maha Mantra means, but I'm going to say it that way. Like, Krishna Radha, engage me in your service, Krishna Radha, engage me in your service, Radha and Krishna. Engage me in your service, I just want to be engaged in your service, all I want. Engage me in your service. I just want service. Engage me in your service. I just want service. Service. I think it's all obvious, right? Isn't it? Yes? So let's get real funny. If a man proposed to a woman the way sometimes we chant Japa, we would be single for life. You want to marry me? You want to marry me? What do you think? We can get married, you know? You'll be single your whole life. Please marry me. I just want to marry you. You're my life and soul. Please. Yeah, you might get married today with that. Right? So when we disconnect from what the mantra means, then our chanting gets really weird, doesn't it? It's like what are you doing? Prabhu, what are you doing? I'm chanting. Anybody there? Hello? Anybody there? Right? You know what the mantra means. You know what you're chanting, right? Yeah. Service, I want service. And Krishna is looking at it and saying, look at this loser. Like he thinks like he's going to get purified chanting that way? Krishna coward boys are just laughing at you. This guy's a joke. Who's he trying to fool? I mean, really, put yourself in Krishna's shoes. You're chanting Hare Krishna and you don't even mean it. You're thinking about Upma and what time you can stop chanting. And then you're saying, why doesn't Krishna ever answer my prayers? Because you don't even mean what you're praying. That's why. Because if you don't mean it, like if I say something and I don't mean it, it means nothing to you. Because you don't feel anything coming from it. That's why when the guy says to the girl, I love you, you're beautiful, I love you. She's like, get out of here, you weirdo. You're not feeling anything. So she's not feeling anything. But when you feel it, she'll feel it. Or when she feels it, you'll feel it. So when you don't feel it and you expect Krishna to feel it, good luck. What do you expect him to feel? He'll feel what you're feeling. And if you're feeling Upma, that's what you communicate to him. And Krishna's saying, I want a relationship with you, and you're saying, I want Upma. Hare Krishna. You thought you were bad, now you know how bad you really are. No, I mean, I know this is all funny, but it's completely what's actually happening. Isn't it? This is actually what's happening. Krishna's giving you the name, to reel you back into a relationship. Instead of a relationship, you're thinking about Upma. Or, how you're going to get a new job and make more money. And Krishna's disappointed in you because he wants a relationship. Next question.
Oh yes, we know 99% of 99.9% of spiritual progress is depends on we know 99.9% of our spiritual progress depends on how we chant. So how we can increase our dependency on holy name.
I think you just answered the question. Because it depends 99 or whatever, how many percentage it is. It depends primarily on the quality of your chanting. How can we depend on it? Because your whole spiritual life depends on it. So you really just answered the question. But it's a good question because you know how many lectures Prabhupada has given in which Prabhupada is saying something like, you have this human form of life, don't waste it. Like so many lectures like that, like all the time. Because that's what we're good at, wasting human form of life. Because we've wasted millions of them. So he's like, you should stop doing that. It's not good. Like you have a chance not to waste this life. So Prabhupada, he's trying to reason with us. Like you can be Krishna conscious. This life you can go back to Godhead. You're here, you made it. You're almost at the top. So don't go back. That would be a travesty. If you go back down, you have to go back up again. So why go back down another body, then you start over. So Prabhupada would always speak that way. So it's the same thing. I have the Maha Mantra. If I chant it properly, I can make a lot of advancement. In those 2 hours that I'm chanting my 16 rounds, if I chant improperly, then kind of, I get something. Now, many of us are under the concept or the conception that you just have to chant 16 rounds. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Right? How many of you have felt like that? 16 rounds, 4 principles. Just if you get the 16, ding ding, I did 16, I'm on the way. It's not like that. Nothing in the world is like that. So Many of the Japa workshops I do, I just have to convince people all 16 rounds are not created equal. There are different qualities to it, and they have different results. So if you commit namaparad, what happens when you commit namaparad? What do we say? Every Vaishnava, every person who considers himself to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. And you could add to that, in order not to take birth again and 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 again. Because some of you heard the story I told where some devotees were not following all the principles. They're following 2 principles. No gambling, no meeting. But they weren't following the other 2. They're doing kirtans, they're chanting their 16 rounds with 2 principles. And so they were saying, well, okay, it's not the best, but at least we're chanting 16 rounds. So when that was brought to Prabhupada, he said, but the order of the Guru is 4 principles. So you're committing namaparad, disobeying the order of the Guru. And so if you disobey the order of the Guru, it may take you 300 lifetimes to actually get something out of the holy name, that you can go back to Godhead. So when you understand these things, then that answers your question, how to be intentional about good japa, because good japa is good japa, and not good japa is not good japa, and there's a difference. As with anything in this world, there's a difference between doing it well and not well, right? Okay, everyone, let's exercise. You do 1 push-up, you do 2, and you do 50. Who's going to be in better shape next month? Him or him? Him. You do bad japa every day. He does good japa. Next month, who's going to be fired up, enthusiastic, happy? You, not you. The best way to answer this question really is chant good japa and you'll see the difference. It's not like a lot of devotees, when they've gone to japa retreats and started chanting really, really good rounds, they would joke, but this is actually their experience, even though it sounds funny. They would say, what's in this mantra? Is this the same mantra I've been chanting? Because I don't think I've chanted this mantra before. That's how they felt. Like it's a different mantra. It's a different experience. So if you have that experience, it answers the question. You go, this is the mantra I'm supposed to chant. This has a different effect on me. I feel different. I don't have all these problems. I don't have all these attachments. The mantra is working. Now, another way to look at it is, we as conditioned souls have so many problems. And the Maha Mantra can solve so many of those problems, but we have to chant properly for it to work. And we all know, if we don't chant properly, those problems seem to stick around in the same intensity. Right? So, you don't want to be, in the last stage of your life, lying on your deathbed thinking, I should have chanted better rounds. Because it's too late. You can't go back. You want to be thinking, I'm really glad that I took the time to chant as best I could, because I can see the result now at the end of my life that it actually worked. And you will see that result. Now, another beautiful idea is, and this is something that I think some devotees don't really get it fully. There's this idea in some of our heads that I can't become pure. I've been chanting for so many years, I'm still not pure. It looks like it's not going to get much better. But it's probably because Your chanting needs to be better. There's nothing wrong with you. You are spirit soul Satchit Ananda. There's no souls that are not Satchit Ananda. Krishna didn't create some like mutations. Oh, you're just Sat and 50% Chit and no Ananda. No. It's not like Prabhupada says, full of Sat, full of Chit, full of Ananda. So there's no way you could not be purified by the holy name unless you're a robot. As long as you're a spirit soul, it will purify you. So the idea that I'm too fallen or too contaminated or too sinful to be purified, there's no basis for that. There's no truth in that. There's no evidence for that. And there's evidence for the opposite. Jaga and Mada is the evidence. All the Westerners, all the conditioned souls are evidence. And Prabhupada, he was so enthusiastic in 1970 to bring Westerners to India in dhoti, kurta, kunti mala, tilak, shori, choli. He said, look at these Malechas. Now they're Vaishnavas, Brahmins. Why was he so enthusiastic? Because, as you know, there was a section of the population of India saying, unless you're born a Brahmin, tough luck. Good luck in your next life. Maybe you'll be born a Brahmin. And Prabhupada's picking up people who Indians called lechas, yavanas, outcasts. The outcasts are becoming Brahmins. And that's an essential part of our philosophy. Mahaprabhu comes, breaks all the rules, anybody can become Krishna conscious, anybody can become purified. So if you say, I can't be purified, go argue with Mahaprabhu, see what he has to say. You think you're going to win the argument with him? Mahaprabhu, I can't be purified. Oh, really? That's what I came for. Everyone's included, including you. Good excuse, but I don't buy it. Right? So the holy name is pure, and if it's chanted purely, sincerely, it will act on everybody. And it can elevate from the lowest to the highest position. So if you are having difficulty in your spiritual life, then you understand it's just my chanting needs to be purified. And my activities that help purify my chanting, like my hearing, my sadhana, the habits, what I eat, what I see, what I feel, what I touch, all these things, if I purify them, keep them sattvic or transcendental, then my chanting will become pure. And when my chanting is pure, automatically I will be pure no matter who I am. Today in this lecture, Prabhupada was saying you all have to be gurus. It was in 1974. I was 24 years old then, I think. At most, the average age in the movement was 25. And I think the average devotee at that time was around 3.5 years in the movement. Probably average age was 24, 3.5 years in the movement. And he's saying, you will all have to be guru. Wow. That's why I stopped the lecture and I said, how does this make you feel? And they were all like laughing, like, no way. Not me, are you kidding? Me, guru? Like, what are you talking to me? And Prabhupada is dead serious. Why is he serious? Because he has faith in the holy name, that the holy name could uplift anybody to the highest position, that you, Malecha hippie, 4 years ago, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I could leave this world any moment, you're going to take over and make disciples. How are you going to do that? How is that possible? Because you're going to chant without offense, and the holy name will elevate you. That's how. Now, if you analyze Prabhupada's strategy, who in their right mind would try to spread a movement by picking up hippies? Hey, I got a good idea. I want to start a company. Let's go to New York and hire hippies. Then you go into the bank, to get a loan. And the bank manager says, I don't think so. That's a good idea. I don't think that's going to work. So why didn't Prabhupada go home after he saw who was coming to the temple? You know, he was looking for, Prabhupada actually wanted to preach to Rockefeller and the likes. He was going for the top rungs of society, but he couldn't approach them. So look who showed up, all the hippies. Those were the customers. So now, this is all that Prabhupada has. There's no Rockefeller, there's no meeting with President Nixon, nothing. It's just a bunch of people taking LSD every other day or every day. And doing a lot of things we can't even mention in the temple. That's all he had. And so the fact that he stayed and preached to them and said, you're the ones who are going to spread the Krishna conscious movement, is a demonstration of his absolute faith in the holy name. And to prove it also, this is just my observation, but to prove it, in Prabhupada's prayers on the Jaladuta, he said, I have absolute faith in the holy name. And that's why he stayed. And that's why he initiated these people. In the beginning, Prabhupada said, if necessary, I will feed them meat. If that's what's necessary for them to come, and if they will come and chant, I'll be willing even to do that. Not cow meat. I'll be willing to do that. Why? Because they'll chant Hare Krishna, and if they chant Hare Krishna, they'll become purified. Wow. That's a lot of faith in the holy name, right? So I would suggest to all of us, we should have the same faith in the holy name that Prabhupada had. But a lot of us don't. And we say, yeah, but I'm special case. Holy name does not work on me. No, it does, but you're not chanting it properly. That's why it's not working. This medicine is useless. It doesn't work. Prabhu, you know, what's in your diet? And, well, I eat this and that. Well, right on the label it says, don't eat this and that when you take the medicine. That's why it doesn't work. But you're thinking, useless medicine. My disease is special. It doesn't work. No, you were eating, it's telling you don't eat this and this. The medicine will work, and you're eating it. Nam aparad. Don't eat this and this when you chant. Don't do this and that. Why did Mahaprabhu arrange to deliver Jagai and Madai? Just to make this point. That in Kali Yuga, in other ages, you have to be a Brahmin or Vaishya, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, no. Women, no chance. They don't go to live in the ashram generally. And you have to be initiated to get your Gayatri mantra, then you can study the Vedas and worship Shalagram and all these things. And Mahaprabhu is like, no, this is not going to work in Kali Yuga. People are too fallen. So, you don't want to second guess Mahaprabhu. He knew exactly what was needed. And something really interesting. When Mahaprabhu saw the Kali Yuga condition, he thought, we can't give the old Maha Mantra, we have to give a new one. We have to inject it with some Shakti, because the old one is not strong enough. It's like you have a disease, but it's gotten worse. Now we need a stronger medicine. The medicine that usually cures that disease won't cure it now, because the disease is, sometimes diseases, 50 years ago wasn't so bad, and now it's much worse. That old medicine doesn't work. So Mahaprabhu's looking people in Kali Yuga that this holy name from other yugas, Maha Mantra, it's not going to work in Kali Yuga. We have to inject it with Shakti. So he injected it with this Braja Prema, or we call the Prema Nam, the Nam that can give Braja Prema. So it's much more powerful. This holy name works on people in Kali Yuga. So if you say it doesn't work on me, it just means you're not taking it properly or you lack faith. But Prabhupada had full faith. He gave it to the hippies and he asked them to become gurus. You have to have faith in the holy name to do that, right? Otherwise you would never ask that. So that's why I say we should we should have the faith that Prabhupada has in the holy name. We should have it also. Does that make sense? Yes? That okay? Here you have cancer, and I go, here, Prabhu, here's the medicine, it'll cure it. Oh, I forgot to take it today. Oh, I lost it. Where did I put that medicine? That doesn't make any sense, does it? No, this medicine will cure cancer. Oh my God, are you serious? Yeah, it will do it. You're not going to lose that medicine. Take it, 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 8 p.m. You're not going to miss it by a second. You're going to take it. So in the same way, here's the medicine. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, here's the medicine. Here's the medicine that'll cure the disease of material existence. You're not going to mess around. Unless you want to stay here, that's another thing. You're not going to mess around, you're going to take it. Right? Does that make sense? Anybody awake? Does that make sense? Okay, that makes sense. Now there's a second problem. Do you want to go back to Godhead? Because if you don't, you're not going to, how can you chant feelingly and devotedly if you don't really want to go back to Godhead? It wouldn't make sense. If you want to stay in the material world, try it one more time, If you're not ready to go back to Godhead, then I suggest you chant like this. Because that'll keep you here. And you don't have to worry about surrender or anything like that. Because your chanting won't even inspire you to surrender. So you just stay in your comfort zone. Nothing's going to change. Because Krishna's going to look at you and go, okay, he's not that interested in liberation. We'll just leave him alone. Maybe if he chants long enough, something will happen. Of course, I'm exaggerating to make a point. Obviously, any chanting is good and any chanting will purify you. Right? But I'm just trying to exaggerate it to emphasize what's, these points. Okay, next question. Battery's running out. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Mechanical chanting, actually, if we are continuously thinking of Radha Krishna's form, but without feelings, will that also be called mechanical?
If you're chanting mechanically, looking at a picture of Krishna, is that what you're saying?
Just comes. If we are thinking of the form continuously.
Oh yeah, you're chanting mechanically, but you're thinking of Krishna.
Yeah, we are thinking of Radha Krishna's form.
Yeah, that will always, yeah.
But
Yeah.
without feelings, because naturally when we
Will
think
it,
of
will
Radha
it?
Krishna form,
Yeah, that's good, but that's like the question, how much can I get away with and still go to heaven? That's the Christian, like, what's the bare minimum I have to do to get to Vaikuntha? Because is it like, if I think of Krishna and I just space out when I chant, is that good enough? But that's the wrong attitude. We don't want okay, what's the bare minimum? If I go to Mangalarti once a week, 16 rounds, 4 principles, and I just eat prasadam, is that enough? Anything else I have to do? That's enough. Oh, thank you. Then I have all this free time to go to movies and do all kinds of things and still go back to God. So what can I get away with and still go back to God? Because we don't want to look at it that way, right? Because that's kind of inherent within the question you asked.
So, Mother's noted in enhance that suppose if we are thinking of Radha Krishna's form and chanting, but without feelings, so how can that be enhanced? With feelings.
Depends on you. What do you want? What are you trying to get out of your chanting? What's your objective? What's your intention? It's nice to have an intention when you're chanting. Like one time, Prabhupada said, when you're chanting, Krishna's hearing, and although we don't see this, Prabhupada said, Krishna is coming to you and asking you, well, you're calling me, why are you calling me? What do you want? Shitalangi, Shitalangi, you'd come up, yes, yes, what do you want? Hare Krishna, yes, yes, what do you want? Why are you calling me? So Prabhupada said, then you express what it is you want. Oh Krishna, please help me. Love you. So that's what the Maha Mantra is. It's not like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You just, get a robot. Now we have counters, a little bit. To give shop in 50 years and have robots. You record your Japa in there, 16 rounds, and the robot will chant your rounds for you. What's the difference between you chanting like a robot and the robot chanting for you? It's like the same thing. So it's the point is, it's not a numbers game. Like, can I chant 16 rounds and just think about my service and go back to Godhead? Can I chant 16 rounds and think Bhagavad Gita verses and go back to Godhead? Can I chant 16 rounds and think? But the point is, that's not the way we're guided to chant. So why even ask those questions? Like, this is how to play guitar. Could I play it like this? Is that okay? Would that be okay? Could I still play? Could I play with my teeth? It's like, why ask those questions? It doesn't make sense. No, this is the way to play. Hold it like this. These are the fingers. So, like, why are we trying to, it's like you're going to school, you ask the professor, well, if I only come to class once this semester, but I take all the tests, is that okay? What's the teacher going to say? Well, in theory, if you pass all your tests, but in my daughter's college, university, you get grades based on participation in class as well. So you got A's on all your tests, but no participation, you get D's on participation. So maybe you get a C+. So it's not like you're trying, it's like, let's beat the system. Can I chant on a level 5 instead of a level 10 as long as I think of the deities? All right, it's better than not. Thinking of the deities, you become purified. It's good, but there's a way to do it.
Like you said that if we keep calling Hare Krishna, and Krishna comes, we have nothing to ask for. So we can ask for whatever we want, and if we want, we can ask for Prema. So this prayer with feeling has to be continuous with every beat when we are thinking of Radha Krishna, or once in every round if we pray what we want and continue just thinking of the deities, or it has to be continuous with every beat. The prayer has to go continuously.
If you have to force yourself to think of the deities, what's the point? You want to marry a man who every day has to force himself to like you?
Prayer is forceful.
No, prayer should be natural. It should be what you want. Like, for example, we were talking about this definition, Krishna, please engage me in your service, which also means, Krishna, protect me from my tendency to want to serve Maya. Do you have a tendency to want to serve Maya? Yes or yes? Is it painful when you give into that tendency? Yes or yes? Do you feel guilty when you give into that tendency? Yes or yes? Would you like to overcome that tendency? Yes or yes? You don't have to artificially create that, Krishna, please engage me in your service, because you feel that at every second. So when you chant the holy name, it should be natural, not like, think of the deity. If I hold my head this way, I'll think of the deity, and now I forgot the deity, and where is the deity? And it's like, if you're attracted to those deities, you'll think of them. It's not like, why worry about it?
Thinking of the deities would be natural, but when we are praying, the prayer becomes forceful. So then,
But why is it forceful if you're...
Is artificial.
No, it shouldn't be forceful. That's my point. It should be natural. Do you want to go back to Godhead? Yes. Do you want to love Krishna? Yes. Do you want to overcome your obstacles? Yes. What's unnatural about that? That's what you want. So you put that into your chanting. It's completely natural. That's my whole point. You don't have to bang your head against the wall to hear the holy name and to chant with feeling. because you already have those feelings. You just have to recognize that you have them and then bring them in to the Maha Mantra. It's so easy. It's just when we become robots, we disconnect from those feelings. So in that sense, you could say, I have to force those feelings. No, you just have to remember that that's why you're chanting. Those feelings are already there. That's my point. It's not like you have to force that. Like, why are you to even be here if you don't want to become Krishna conscious? If you don't want to reconnect with Krishna. You want to, but sometimes you forget because you're just so busy with other things and other things are important. Then you remember, wait a minute, why am I chanting? Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, when you're chanting, you should meditate on what the Maha Mantra means. In other words, it's like, what am I doing? Like you ever chant and you're just completely spaced out and you stop and you go, wait a minute, I'm chanting. Let's get back to here, right now, like the Buddhists say, mindfulness. Let's be present. So by Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying, meditate on the meaning, it brings you back, what am I doing right now? I heard something which is really good for Vata people, because Vata people are like, they're all over the place. And so, being a Vata, I know. And this was really good advice. This person said, when you're doing something, just tell yourself what you're doing. Like, Hare Krishna, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I'm not planning my breakfast. I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The Maha Mantra means, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. You just remind yourself, because otherwise your mind will go to breakfast and this and that, and how much I don't like this devotee and whatever, right?